Why are we as Black people quicker to forgive people outside our race than each other?
For me to participate in this conversation, I would like to get a unanimous understanding of what everybody considers forgiveness
Okay.
because because I think my definition may skew the conversation a little bit.
Okay.
What I will say is, like I shared last episode, I am a licensed clinician, and when I speak to individuals I work with about forgiveness, I often use the definition that forgiveness is our responsibility to ourselves to free up the burden of carrying pain.
Hmm.
Forgiveness has nothing to do with other people, it has to do with us. We have a responsibility to ourselves to release the shackles of pain that we are carrying caused by someone else. It does not mean you've accepted behavior. It does not mean that you um, allow somebody to reoffend.
Hmm.
You can keep your distance, you can keep your space, you can keep a line of separation between you and a person or persons that have wronged you. But forgiveness, I think a lot of times when we talk about forgiveness, we think that it's okay. Like we're saying, like what you did to me is okay.
Hmm.
That's not my definition. My definition is whether you want it to be okay or not is on you. Are you okay moving forward in your life without carrying the pain? Because that is a huge responsibility to be able to move forward. And I think this is getting closer to the question at hand. So it's a lot of responsibility to move forward when you no longer are shackled. What are you using as the excuse for why you cannot move forward with things when you release the shackles of from what somebody's done to you?
Well, first of all, no one is obligated to forgive someone who oppressed them. If you choose to forgive someone, that's between you and Allah. That's between you and that person who offended you. So, me personally, I don't have a justification to tell someone to not forgive. If you choose to forgive someone for offenses against you, I can't say that you're lame or you're a bozo for that. I can't say that. But speaking for me personally. There's certain things that I will always choose to not forgive. Like what I mentioned the last podcast about my three non-debatables.
Hmm.
I don't forgive people who cross those three boundaries. If you threaten me, there's no forgiveness for you. If you slander me, there's no forgiveness for you. If you swindle me, there's no forgiveness for you. I don't budge from those things. Now, forgiveness is something that's very relative, right? So when we speak about forgiveness, just like what Lisa mentioned, unfortunately, certain people or some people, they interpret forgiveness as, oh, someone just giving them a pass as though what they did was not wrong. So the first thing is that we have to really understand what forgiveness actually is and what it isn't. Like just like that famous statement, forgive but don't forget. What ends up happening a lot of times is that people forgive but they forget. And when you forgive and forget, you leave that opening for a person to violate you again and again and again and again. And the reason why knowing this is important, just like when Lisa mentioned about being burdened with certain things is not always a negative thing because it keeps you on your toes and it keeps your eyes open to observe treacherous people. Because let's face it, certain people don't deserve forgiveness for certain things. And the reason why I'm saying that forgiveness is relative, for example, someone who sexually abused someone. Most people with any type of moral principle or basic intelligence wouldn't run around telling sexual abuse victims, oh, forgive them. Like, nigga, what? Forgive what? Forgive who? We would not do that. Classically, typically, none of us would ever do that. Now, there are some people who find it within themselves to forgive those who sexually abuse them. We can't say that they're wrong for that, but at the same time, we can't go around and be like, oh, forgive them. Nah, you wilding. You out of pocket for that.
Right.
You know, so that's what I mean. Like things more extreme, less extreme, that extreme, all of that, all of that in the mix, all of that put together. Forgiveness is exclusively a personal endeavor. No one has a right to tell someone to forgive or to not forgive. Thing about forgiveness, that's something that an individual person exclusively has defined within themselves to make the choice to forgive. No one has a justification to twist someone's arm to convince them to forgive or to not forgive. But we do have an obligation to educate people about their own human agency, their own human autonomy. We have an obligation to correct people and let them know you're not obligated to forgive anyone who offend you. If you choose to forgive them, that's your choice. That's your decision, but you're not obligated to do so, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
In choosing to forgive, again, like I said, my definition is you are choosing to move forward with your life, understanding the circumstances of what took place, and you are not going to use what happened to you as an excuse for why other things can't be great for you or why life is a certain way, right? Like you said something, Gareth, really poignant, being vigilant. That's not the word you use, but like being vigilant, right? Which I don't think that's a burden. I don't think you said keeping you on your toes. I don't think that's a burden, right? Like that is a life skill that you got to walk away with. When I say burden, I mean like because you had a really bad heartbreak, you can't now date or allow yourself to be loved, right? That's a burden. That is a huge burden. It's a burden on you and it's a burden on the people that come into your life that want to love on you, right? Like that, you're carrying this burden of what took place. So, yes, I do agree that forgiveness is a choice and no one's obligated to forgive anybody. And I love talking about the statement because I grew up hearing it, right? Like, oh, I forgave, but I didn't forget. My vantage point, my personal opinion is when I hear somebody say that, I'm like, you didn't forgive because you're not going to forget. We don't need to say that, right? Forgiveness isn't about it isn't about saying it's okay. It's about saying I'm okay. Who you are is who you are. If you are a fucked up individual, that is on you, and I am not going to walk around with your responsibility to being fucked up to people onto me. Like I think Gareth, like you said, I get to be vigilant. I get to be on my toes a little bit more. I'm taught certain lessons about how to navigate the world, but I'm good, right? Like that to me is true forgiveness. I am whole and complete despite what this person did to me. I'm not saying it's okay, and I'm not saying I'm cool with that person. What I'm saying is I'm healing me so that I can move forward. That's what true forgiveness is. I'm not going to hate you and focus on hating you forever because that's draining energy from me that could be used towards something else. I'm sitting up in my house hating you when I really could be finding a way to like bring in another stream of income, right? Like that to me is forgiveness. You making sure that you're good regardless of what somebody's done. I think, and to the original question that started this conversation last week, what does it look like when people in our race forgive others and not within our race, right? Because I don't know, like there's a lot of people who are still using oppression as a reason why things happen to them where it's not just this one thing, right? Like you said last week, niggas love being niggas,
Yeah.
right? Like it's not just oppression. Is oppression a part of it? Yes, but everybody on this screen is thriving despite oppression.
Mhm.
So I guess that is a question. Like what does that look like when other people are forgiving, when people are forgiving others and not with it?
My take on this topic is along these lines. Unfortunately, okay, for myself, I was brought up with the notion of eye for an eye. The things that I was doing growing up, it kind of ingrained in me. Like if somebody do something to you, you make sure you get them back with the same type of energy. And unfortunately, the people that was doing those things to me were the people that looked like me. So something became ingrained in me, and that comes from bees doing things to people, taking advantage of people, being taken advantage of. And when it comes to me thinking about it, it's just like, yo, the only people that's done messed up things to me was people that look like me. So somewhere in my mind, it's just like, yo, I gotta always be on point. I gotta watch. I gotta be aware. I'm uncomfortable around my own people. Whenever I meet somebody from a different background, ethnic background, or just race, it's more I'm comfortable. I don't have a heightened sense of needed to protect myself because I didn't grow up with that race directly affecting me. That's one. Two, there are some people within, I would say, our black people who continue to want to point fingers and say, "Oh, we're oppressed. This group of people don't like us because et cetera, et cetera." And it's just like, well, when it comes to like slavery, you're not a slave. You've never been a slave. Your grandmother wasn't even a slave, possibly the closest thing to experiencing slavery, but they weren't a slave. So how can you say, you know, oh, we're still slaves? And I can understand the mentality to a system, but now, are we looking at somebody who's a welfare recipient, third generation, who's continuing that and who is not going out and working for or bettering themselves because they're relying so much on the person who they say are oppressing them? You're the one that's allowing them to oppress you because you're not doing anything to improve yourself to, detach from the nipple. You know what I'm saying? So how can you say you oppress or they don't like us as a people when you're the one that's continuing to allow them to feed you and you're going back to them? That's one of the things that my mind thinks about when I think about this topic. Another thing I think about is, unfortunately, now that we're older, we have social media. There is a lot of false information that's been put out there, but there's a lot of true information that has been put out there. So when I look at like the death of Malcolm X and I see it was our own people who killed Malcolm X, despite however that looks and their affiliation, that hurts my heart to be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Like we killed us, and it's just like, what happened with that? And then it's like other prominent people, I don't know. It's just I get emotional and I get bothered by that because it's just like, yo, it's us killing us, but it's deeper than that because it goes back to the people who are relying on. Okay, I see what you're saying. Public assistance is a financial plantation. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. So, I can't right at this particular point in time pretty much articulate how I want to express that, but that's something that it affects me and it bothers me. You know what I'm saying? And even with the Martin Luther King situation, to my knowledge, at this point, it's like the people around him pretty much it was facilitated to like kind of make him look in one direction while whatever's happening to him is coming from this
He got
direction.
lined up. Period.
Yeah,
He got lined
exactly.
up.
You know what I'm saying? And then we know people in our community who be on that type of time. So it's just like, you know what I'm
Just
saying?
like with
Like,
Fred Hampton, the
yeah,
dude who lined him up
exactly.
was one of his aides.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it be stuff like that. And now even with the Diddy case coming out and finding out about Big and Pop. So it's like, yo, like really? Like
I
it's
mean, that was
it's
public knowledge anyway. That
yeah,
that
I
that
mean, if
Diddy
you
had
did the
some type of
research,
indirect or soft influence in that.
right. So you know what I'm saying? But once again, like when we look at games and things like that, so this is what my mind goes to when I be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like it's harder for us to forgive one another because it's something ingrained because we are each other's enemies to an extent and we created that on ourselves. So, in a nutshell, that's how my mind views this topic.
Yeah, I wanted to speak on what he mentioned that even when we talk about race or racial issues, right?
Mhm.
Even using the term race is problematic because race, ironically, is a white supremacist term anyway.
Mhm.
So even when we say race, we starting off on the wrong foot anyway. The reason why I say that is because oftentimes with race, it classifies people exclusively with things like skin complexion
Mhm.
or quote unquote hair type or these type of things, right? One of the things that we have to remember is that just because someone looks like this, that don't mean that y'all here with each other. Like that old saying, all skin folk ain't kinfolk.
Yeah,
That's reality.
that's a big thing down here in Texas.
That's a reality,
Yeah.
right? Like for example, you'll have people from Mexico who look like all three of us who will call you moreno or negro
Hmm.
with a condescending context.
Hmm.
People from Panama or people from Costa Rica or Honduras or any Latin American country, any Spanish speaking country or Portuguese speaking country, they'll call you moreno or negro with a condescending in a condescending context, as though I'm like, nigga, you look just like me. Like, have you not looked in the mirror? You go anywhere in the world where you have people who have higher melanin content than other people, like the Middle East, for example, India,
Yeah.
India subcontinent, for example. They'll call you Abid, which means slave in Arabic. They'll call you Kalu, which basically means nigga in Hindi and Urdu and Bangla. They'll call you these words, and they as black as midnight. You know what I'm saying? Like these niggas is blickety black, and they'll call you nigga. Like, have you ever seen your reflection before? For real. Like, shit is crazy. So we have to always keep that in mind, especially for us who are Afro peoples who've been in the Western Hemisphere for the past 5 centuries. We have to recognize and accept the reality that we are not the same, regardless of our ethnogenetic origins and us doing DNA tests and all of that. We are not the same, and people from the African continent will never look at us the same, in spite of the fact that those are the same niggas who sold us to European people.
Mm.
Matter of fact, the fact that they sold their fellow Africans to European people and Arab people is proof that they didn't look at each other as the same. Because a lot of it was based on tribal warfare.
Right.
A lot of it was based on religio warfare. So based on those religio lines, those tribal lines, they was like, fuck them niggas. Now, obviously, they didn't know that what was going to happen ended up happening, but at the same time, they didn't care either. And like I always tell people, apathy is worse than ignorance. Not caring is worse than not knowing. So centuries after that, people have socially inherited those same divides. And when they come to places outside of their African countries or outside of south of the border in the Western Hemisphere, they come to places like the United States. Those ingrained ethnocentric biases, those things don't leave people at the border. They take these things with them. So we, as people who are native to the United States, we have to recognize and accept the reality that we should never expect people who quote unquote look like us to embrace us. But the problem is that we're always willing to embrace people who quote unquote look like us, and that's a mistake, and that's a problem.
I agree with you on that. And funny thing is with us all being from NYC, we easily mingle with all cultures. Like when I went to 28th Street, they got like the vendors, African vendors over there. And sometimes I would get crazy energy and I'm like, damn, like you black like me, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, nah, like you're not black like me, you know what I'm saying? And another thing that Gareth, I don't know your background, but I know Lisa, you have Caribbean like myself. So we have a Caribbean background. So that's another like sub level of, black or, I'm not black, but I'm Caribbean. You know what I mean? That's a whole different upbringing and frame of mind. Like my grandmother, man, I tell you, she used to workhorse me. And I did not like going over there. She'd be like, you're a lazy American. And this is coming from my grandmother who's Jamaican. You know what I mean? So it's just like what? Like, what are you saying? But as I'm older now, I understand it, you know what I mean? And it's like what you said, it's a geo mind frame from where you're at because this is what goes on in your area of the world. You know what I mean? It's your thought and your how you process things. So,
I
Oh yeah, in
don't
the Caribbean, that definitely takes place. What you mentioned, yeah.
mhm,
I know for a fact it's not going to be our lifetime for sure, but
yeah,
I don't know at what point this planet would ever experience a non-divide, right? Not necessarily a togetherness, but just a non-divide because people from the continent of Africa do this. Where if a Ghanaian sees, a Nigerian in the store, they understand that that's my people. They see them coming to the store, they gonna hook them up, right? They see them, they
Seen
know
that
that
happen in
we
real
are
life. I've
yeah,
seen it. Yeah.
they gonna have their beef in like on social media and stuff. But when it comes to support businesses, taking care of community, they're going to be one land, one band, one sound. And all other ethnic groups do this globally
yeah,
Except us.
except
yeah.
the Western black people. You could go into any corner store, bodega, deli, whatever you want to call it in New York City. And if a Latin person is in the counter and a Latin person walks in, hola mami, ¿cómo estás? Like you could have been
Yeah.
standing there. You could have
Yeah.
been standing there getting ready to ring up your items. They're passing you
Right.
and they're talking to this person that they identify as one of them.
Based
And
on
I
language.
Yeah.
Yep.
this happens within Asian cultures. And although Asian cultures can get a little,
Yeah.
they have
The higher.
their
Yeah.
rates, right? It's just I don't know. And listening to what you guys shared, what I think is coming, what came up for me is crabs in a barrel, right? Like unfortunately, we do not possess the power to oppress others. We just don't, right? Not on a global level. And I don't know if there's something in us innately that wants to oppress people because we have been oppressed. And as a result, like you said, Luke, we're going to do this to the people that are around us because they're accessible. I'm not saying that that is what it is. I'm kind of just thinking out loud. And because oppressing anybody else would be a too much of a larger fight for us. At least we think.
Mhm.
But I just don't know what it would look like for us to have that same just human level of love for one another that we're so angry when we see other people do it, but we're envious.
Mhm.
Your assessment is 100% accurate.
Yeah.
You know?
So
Yeah. No, no, you no,
you hit
you
the
really hit
home
the
run.
bullseye. You really did. You really did. Like oppressed people at a certain point, they just get to a point where we got to screw over somebody. And like you said, the closest in proximity are the people who get it the worst or the people who get it totally. Yeah, that's true.
It's funny, and for y'all who don't really understand what she's saying, it's like, yo, when your man get more money than you and he coming around and he flossing, and it's just like, damn, I want to eat too. And your man is like, nah, he kind of low-key gatekeeping on certain things because he wants to keep that one up over you.
And
And
the first thing that
it's
come to your mind, I'm gonna rob this nigga.
exactly. So it's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? For lack
Because
of
the
a better
reality is you couldn't rob the person where he's getting the
right,
money from.
right,
Because like he's still getting that money from some sort of other
right,
higher sourced outlet, right?
right.
Classic example. Alpo and Rich Porter.
Absolutely.
Alpo was hating the whole time they was clicked up.
Hmm.
He knew he couldn't get the connect because they'd have smoked Alpo.
Right.
So what he decided to do, he's the closest person to him, Rich Porter.
Yep, that's definitely a great analogy. Now, I wanted to ask, were we ever taught how to disagree without destroying each other?
No.
I
That
think
was
that's
done
a
purposely. That was done systematically for us to
Yeah.
not do that. At the same time, that's also a personal responsibility because just like Lisa mentioned, and this is part of niggas being niggas. Like niggas being niggas is a real addiction.
hmm
Like we have to come to terms with that. So the psychology of the nigga is that, oh, if somebody ain't teach me something, then I'm not going to try to learn it. That's a toxic mentality.
hmm
Just because we've never been taught something, that doesn't mean it's not upon us to go seek it out and learn it.
Hmm. But
Like
this,
we,
I
we're, we're
think,
we're so used to being baby spooned
hmm
that if we're not spoon fed something, we don't want to go out and pursue it. That's
Right.
a very toxic mentality.
that kind of like hits on what I was saying earlier about forgiveness being our own responsibility. Because what we do is we hold other people accountable for our shit.
hmm
And we hold other people accountable for what we have or don't have. And it would be a lot easier to blame the world, blame slavery, blame our ancestors than to just like say, you know what, I am not a good business person, and that this is why every business venture I have fails.
Because
Or
I'm not
I
good with
don't
money. I'm not
have
good with numbers. Right.
right, like
But
I
admitting
don't
that,
have the skill set to be a good boss, and this is why my employees work 3 months and then resign, right?
Right.
Like it's just easier for us to say to blame somebody else. And I think saying that like, well, I wasn't taught this, so I don't know how is a perfect example. Nope, we weren't taught a lot of things. We
hmm
were not taught a lot of things that we understand.
and
We had
you
to go out and get it. Or like
absolutely,
for example, what you mentioned, a person will always bitch and moan about, oh, I ain't get this job, I ain't get that job. Nigga, you went to the job interview with a do rag on.
with the line in your head, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
like
no tie,
really?
no button up.
No belt on
You
your pants,
just
your
dry
pants
showed
sagging.
up.
Like, nigga, did you really think you was gonna get that job?
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, no, because on a much deeper level, you didn't want the job.
Yes. So you like it's like
Subconsciously. Yeah.
self-sabotaging.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
No, self-sabotage is a real thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It is.
yeah.
Self-sabotage is a
Because if
real
you
thing.
get the job, then you have to perform
Right.
as the person that you are being held
You present it.
accountable to
You
Yes.
gotta
be. And
grow
you
up.
don't
You
want to
gotta
do that.
mature. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's why we have people our age who still hugging the blocks, selling drugs, scrambling, reporting to a plug.
Yeah.
Like, nigga, how you 45 and you still scrambling?
Still on the block. You know what I mean?
Like,
Still
that
on the
shit is
block.
crazy.
Yeah.
That shit is crazy, bro. This gang shit, this drug shit ain't for nobody. At the same time, if you made the choice to be in that life and you're not the big homie by the time you're 25, you're not the plug by the time you're 25, you need to motherfucker retire from that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just selling, you know what I mean? Selling work. It's other things too, like
I'm
your
talking about any
mentality,
any level of
relation.
criminality.
It's
If
yeah.
if you're if you're not that guy by the time you're 25, you need to motherfucking retire.
Right.
Like, for real.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask, what would change if we extended the same patience inward that we give outward?
Oh, we be Wakanda. We be Wakanda.
Pretty much.
We be yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
so the things that we have the power to do. First of all, I don't have the statistics in front of me. I do not have the numbers, so do not quote me on this. But us being the percentage of this nation that we're told is mathematically impossible. It just like you look at this country and you look at where we are in this country, right? There is no way we're only like 11%. There's no way. Mathematically, there's no way, right?
Well, you have to remember the percentages and the numbers don't always match up.
Mm-mm.
But what I'm saying is, as far as because some people, right, are not getting counted,
Mm.
that they're getting counted as other things, right? When it was time to shut down Target, like there are things, and I'm gonna use this example because Luke, I don't know, you have to remember this. I used to work at the Foot Locker in Times Square when we were at Medgar together.
Okay. Yes, of course, because I had camped out, definitely.
And I would go to work two
Mm.
consecutive days and see the same people outside. I'm talking about I'm at work Sunday, I leave, go home, come back Monday. It's the same
Mm.
people here.
Yeah.
This is a problem. This is a problem. We could do so much. We could transform this entire world in 2 weeks if we just got our mind right.
You know what? I'm gonna go back to something that you said earlier. I don't think we're gonna see it, unfortunately. It will happen, but unfortunately, we won't be around to see it. What would you say something that you can do as an individual to spark that change in this world?
Stop spending my money with these crackers. Because, like, yo, for real, like, Afro Americans, we're literally the only human demographic in human history who jump out the window to spend money with people who we know for a fact don't respect us.
I agree with you on that. And with you saying that, it was like when I went into the store at first, I didn't know what it was, even though I was a participant. As I got older, I started to tell myself and recognize, like, yo, I'm spending my hard-earned money in a place where a person visibly shows me that they don't want me in this establishment or they don't respect me, but you respect my money. You quick to take my money, however it comes, ripped up, spit on, dirty, written on, however, but you accept my money. So I learned if you can't be respected, if you're spending your money there, it don't make no sense to spend your money there. So
Exactly.
yeah,
And
I'm
the
definitely
irony is that them Arab niggas, the ones who are Muslim at least, them the niggas that be selling all the haram. How the fuck they gonna call you harami and they selling everything that Allah made prohibited? Like,
right,
the hypocrisy is diabolical.
right,
But that's the type of time them niggas be on. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, and you know it's funny with us where we come from. It's like we experienced, I want to say racism to an extent, regardless, and it didn't come directly from the white man. You know what I'm saying? It came from other ethnicities who pretty much had a significant hand in our community. You know what I mean? But it came in
Yeah.
their own subtle way that years down the line you
Or not so
identify.
subtle way.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or not so subtle
Not so
way.
subtle way, but it was there, and it was just like that's the only corner store you could go to when you under 10 years old, and they see you coming to the store Moreno. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, damn, like,
Hmm.
what did they say? And you don't know until you like 20 or like in your late teens, and you're like, damn, that person used to always call me that. Because mind you, I used to pack bags. If I don't know if you remember
Yeah, and
packing bags.
Bravo. Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So packing bags at Bravo, it was just like I used to head and mono, like all of that. And I'm like, damn, like, what is this? And then it was just like the disgust on the person's face who I was packing bags for, because I was standing out there for like a whole hour to pack these bags. You know what I mean? And then when I go and be a Spanish kid, that'd be like a nephew or something, they just come right in with the people who own the spot and they be like, oh no, you're not packing bags today. Like, is you serious? I stood out here a whole hour to get my spot to pack bags and I can't pack. Like it was crazy. So yeah, I know I went somewhere else. I don't even know where I went, but I went left all the way.
No,
Gareth, I want to
that's
tell
really what it
you,
was. That's how it was back in the days when we was coming up. That's really
Yeah.
how it was.
Gareth, I want to tell you a story. This had, I don't know what year it was, probably like 2009, 2010 maybe. Luke, myself, a group of like mutual friends, we
Mm.
went out. We went bowling. And we went to the bowling alley on 42nd. Like, what is that? Like on 12th?
Baltimore, yeah.
Wait, well,
Inside
Baltimore
in Port
Lanes.
Authority.
Baltimore
Yeah,
Lanes.
inside of Port Authority.
And
Yeah.
there was a sign outside the bowling alley that
Yeah, I forgot.
said it was like no fitted caps, no work boots, no large jewelry, no. It was like
And yo,
Basically, it was saying no nigga wear,
yeah,
basically.
exactly. And I always stay with a hat on.
and like and it was funny
Yeah.
because it was like y'all could just say that. Like at this
Right.
point, let's just call it what it is,
Right.
right?
Because
So I
it's
can't
all
come
the
in here with
stereotypical
Yup.
it
fashion
was like
motifs of the
it
nigga.
was a long it was
It
like
was a
no
long,
but
yeah.
no like athletic
None.
wear, no like the construction boots really threw me off. It
Right,
was
yeah.
like
And then when we asked, it was like, oh, because it's scuffs up the thing. But you know what's funny? It wasn't the joint inside of Port Authority. You right. We went to the one on
it
12
was
first,
it
and
was
then they
further
told us,
down, yeah.
you
It
Yeah.
right.
and I
And
don't
then
think
we
I've
wind
been
up
there
going, yeah,
since, right? Like
No,
that
because there's a
that
lot of club spots that used to do the same thing.
yep.
No boots, no
So and the
sneakers. Boom,
thing
boom, boom.
is, I guess like early 20s me rationalized it that like for the club you should be like a little more dressed up, right? But I think I looked at like bowling like I ain't even gonna be wearing my Timbs in here. Like I'm
right,
You're
taking
gonna be
y'all,
having on bowling shoes
right. You going to
anyway.
show, yeah,
you
Right.
know, but you bring up a good point. Yeah, they did it in the clubs. They and millennial club days, you going to the club with your work clothes
yeah,
on.
yeah, straight.
So you would look at somebody crazy if they tried to get in the club with like,
I mean, yeah, that would make sense. Right. Yeah, yeah.
but now I am grateful if I can get in some place with a nice pair of flat shoes, right? Like because but and that, I don't even think I remember that until we started talking about this, Luke. Like I remember this, like it was a group of us, and
Hmm.
and it was like 13 things. It was
Yeah,
like no gold, big jewelry, like
yeah,
all these things was like. So you're describing a black man.
right, right.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Matter of fact, speaking of that, right? Remember the rumors back in the days how they used to say, like the designers used to say, I don't like the way black people wear my clothes and this,
Hmm.
that, and the third, right? Now, in spite of the fact that a lot of those rumors ended up being false, just to utter those things, it's something that triggered into the psyche of the nigga. Oh, let me buy more of this.
Yeah.
Yo, it's so
Yeah,
crazy how
yeah.
we are a people that the more we're insulted, the more we're going to support a person's business.
I do think that we're getting better. I I'm not a fan of Gen Z. But what I will say is Gen Z's tolerance for things is a lot lower than ours was, right?
Agreed, for sure.
And I do think that we are also, again, like we're all saying, like when we were in our early 20s, we really weren't seeing it the same way we see it now, right? And we also didn't have access to things the way that we do now. We can't my block, if I can give you three straight blocks. There is not a black owned business in my neighborhood,
Hmm.
right? Maybe there is a rental space by like the Senegalese people that's selling like soap and kente cloth and
Right.
Dettol and like shea butter, right? Like, and but other than that,
But that's still not us. I get what you're
Right.
saying.
right, right, like everything else, every store, every restaurant, the Chinese restaurant, the corner stores, the laundromat, nothing is owned by us. But I have a car, so I can get in my car and drive to where I want to go to
Not
if
even the
I choose.
managers at Taco Bell and Chipotle are black people.
Right.
Not even not even the managers at McDonald's are Afro American or
That's
Afro Caribbean.
crazy. Wow.
So it's like when we talk about accessing other alternatives, it is challenging.
Yeah.
It
It
is
is.
challenging. It's so I do think that also us being in our 20s, we couldn't just hop in our whip and be like, all right, well, I'm out of here. I'm willing to drive 20 miles
Hmm.
to go to where I'm supported.
Or just in terms of research options. Remember, we're the last generation of human beings who didn't grow up with social media.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All of these generations after us literally grew up with social media.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And I
So
think I think we invented it to have resources, right? What is being used for now is
it's a whole different beast. Yeah.
right. People are putting bunny ears on their and eyeglasses on stuff to
Yeah.
take cute pictures. But we invented to have more resources, and I do think that we are the generation that gets to say we know better, we're gonna do better, right? I
Hmm.
think after us, like I
We don't
said,
have a choice because we the new old niggas.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you saying that when we was talking.
We
Yeah,
really
never
don't have a
lie.
choice but to do better. We the new old niggas.
You're right. So with that being said, how do we plant seeds into into our into black people and it being with us? How do we do that as individuals? For myself, I don't even have an answer for it because, like you said, we the new old niggas, and I didn't forget what I used to do, but it's like now I don't have a tolerance for what I see these younger kids doing. So it's like I'm conflicted because it's like I see myself in them, so I avoid them because I know how I used to be. And
Yeah.
it's funny because they have a lower tolerance or a different sense of reality than we did. You know what I mean?
They have no fear of consequence.
Right, exactly. So with that being said, since they don't have no fear of consequence, then my life is at risk. So I don't know how to approach them. There's like it's lost in translation. So for
Yeah.
me, it's like if they're willing to hear me out, I'll chop it up. But I still keep my distance because you don't
They're
know. It's
they're
easy to trigger them,
unpredictable. They're
huh?
unpredictable. They're unpredictable.
Exactly. So for me, I can't even answer it. It's one of those each one teach one. But if somebody's willing to hear me out, then you know what I'm saying. I'll drop some jewels on them.
Well, one of the fortunate things about social media is that you can drop jewels from a distance.
Right.
Because realistically, anything that we post, potentially somebody somewhere around the world is going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So if you don't want to deal with certain niggas up close, you don't have to.
Right.
Because like I can say me personally by Law's mercy, I've put things online and people who I've never met in real life have told me how they benefited from what I've said or what I've put out.
Mm.
And I never met these people in real life. And I'm
That's
talking about people even in New York City in the US who people don't really take into consideration how vast New York City is as a city.
yeah.
I remember one summer, this is during COVID. I was just walking around in the summer and I was just in Bed-Stuy. And I'm walking on blocks. I swear by Allah, I had never been on these blocks before in my life.
Mm. Born and raised the best
Born and
style.
raised in Bed-Stuy.
Yeah.
And I'm walking on blocks that I've never been on in my life.
And it be like that, man.
I've traveled to 3 different continents, but there's parts of Bed-Stuy I've never been to in my entire life.
Yeah. It be like that.
It be like that.
It be like that. Yeah.
So even our scope into the world, a lot of us really don't allow ourselves to grasp the reality of how wide the world is. Like I tell people all the time, the world is always bigger than the block we grew up on.
Hmm.
And one of the reasons how and why we're so short-sighted is because we don't get that point. Is that the world is bigger than the block we grew up on.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Like just exposure to different things, to different people helps us evolve. It helps us to grow. It helps us to improve. But again, like every like we all agree, you have to want to evolve.
Right,
You have to want to grow. You have to want to improve.
right. And it's so much easier to visit places that you don't physically have to visit with all the technology and everything we have.
Nigga, we
So
got Google Maps.
communicating, yeah, exactly, exactly,
You could research a place a month before you go there.
right.
But here's the thing too, is that passport bro shit. I don't respect that shit at all.
We're gonna
Cause
have to talk about that because a couple of my peoples, you know what I'm saying, they subscribe to that, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I'm gonna keep it tall with you because I've traveled to different places and I
Right.
know niggas personally. I know Muslim and non-Muslim dudes who are passport bros.
Okay.
That passport bro shit is just a euphemism for sexual tourism.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's really
That's
all it is,
yeah,
essentially.
yes, yes.
Because
Because
my
you don't
thing is
have
this.
to, there's no need to put that in front of, yo, I'm just going to visit this country that I've always wanted to go to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because when you say I'm a passport bro,
Right. Like you're emphasizing the
everyone
undertone.
knows what you mean by that. And
Right.
and but my thing is this:
I didn't know.
I have no interest.
I didn't know.
I have no interest in buying $5 pussy because that's one of
Yeah.
the easiest ways to contract $1 trillion STD.
Right, right.
It's just not worth it.
Excuse me. That's the old man laugh. Yeah, but you right.
Making yourself vulnerable to $1 trillion STD just because you want some $5 pussy
Yeah,
is not only is that morally unintelligent, it's just the risk ain't worth it. It's
right.
just not.
That makes sense. So, getting back to what would you do as an individual to change, or not to change, but to put the seed in to us as Black people, not, how do I want to say it, being able to forgive without, I lost it.
No, I get what you're saying. Like
Okay,
for me personally,
yes.
you have to establish boundaries because one thing about what I know for a fact as a human, you can't ask someone to forgive you.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry. You can't ask someone to respect you. That I meant to say respect. You can't ask someone to respect you. Respect is not demanded. Respect
Mhm.
is commanded.
Mhm.
Anytime you give someone the choice to respect you, by human nature, by human default, a person will take the option to unrespect you or disrespect you.
Hmm.
So that's the first thing. Self-respect can never be something that is made optional. It can never be something that is compromised. Like self-respect and people can see right through a person.
Hmm.
Person could tell when another person or another people don't respect themselves. And that's one of the reasons how and why non-Afro people, non-black people are so quick to disrespect Afro people and black people because they know as a whole we don't respect ourselves. So even before where it comes to the forgiveness, we have to be more preemptive. We have to be more proactive. We have to stop shit before it even starts. Now, before we even get into either forgiving or not forgiving for the disrespect, we have to cut the disrespect off before it even starts. Like, we are supposed to make it so difficult for someone to disrespect us that they stop even trying to disrespect us. Because unfortunately, we make it so easy for someone to disrespect us. We make it easy.
Yeah, we gave the ammunition, and
Yeah,
we so far in the hole when it come to that. It's just how do we get out of it? Like I know we ain't gonna see it, but is it even realistic to even think that we can get out of it? And that I think that's my biggest struggle when I think about it. Like, can we even think about us getting out of it because how other, how others look at us? Like, I know it starts with us, man, but I don't know if it's possible, bro. I really don't think it's
it's not
possible.
impossible, but it takes so much work. And again, going back to what I mentioned is that we have to stop, like you said, we have to stop giving people ammunition to disrespect us. Like, for example, Entertainment, this music, the music that we ourselves pump, it gives people the green light to treat us in certain ways.
Right. To jump in our culture and start acting, you know what I'm saying? And then when it get hot,
It's
they
a
could
form
just
of
dip off.
blackface.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
form of blackface.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's like a form of convenient blackface. Yeah,
Yes.
even in terms of like sexuality, how we sexualize ourselves, right? Like for example, in this a very deep connect, right? The only reason how and why these passport bros go to these countries outside the US is because they're a bunch of gameless individuals who know that the only way that they get some box is because they got some US dollars. And the only reason why these women in these foreign countries flock to them is because they got that US passport and because pornography has deeply sexualized the Afro American male. Like, because, like, we're going to keep it real. The only reason why the average black woman likes, I mean, the only reason why the average non black woman likes black men is because of pornography.
Well, I'll take it a step further. Black people have been sexualized before pornography was a thing, right? Black
That's
people
true.
have always been sexualized, and pornography just,
It exacerbated it.
right, it just made it more accessible to everybody to kind of like be on the same page about it. But that's always been the case. You know, I think little black girls are sexualized at a much, and black boys, at a much earlier age than anybody else.
And at a much higher rate. No, that's true.
Exactly.
The sexualization of black women is astronomically higher than the sexualization of black men. That's true.
Well, depending on who's sexualizing whom, right? Like I agree with you that
Depending on the industry, right?
right. Like I do feel as though black men have been like we can even with look back to slavery, like where you had black men who were used
On breeding plantations,
right,
breeding
just to
farms.
breed.
Yeah,
Like,
Forgiveness isn't forgetting, it's deciding we matter enough to repair. So I think with our final statements, we pretty much brought that in full circle. If I could say, um, I guess now we could just discuss freely. I'm gonna end it right now, the recording. So we can say peace. See y'all later.
later.
I'm stopping the recording.